Everybody knows that 11:30.
Yeah, because Evie's never been on the show before. Wants to try and catch her off guard, like we always do.
Oh.
Good morning, everyone. How's it going, Jay and Evie?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. I'd like to say fresh and ready for the day ahead, but that's probably a lie. But I'm here. I got up before you did, though.
I think everyone before I did this morning, man.
Although you still got to the pod before I did, so fair play.
Oh, this is also very true. And we have a special guest, Evie. How's it going?
Going well as well. I've got woman flu, so it's the far deadlier version of man flu because you still have to power through and you can't just sulk away in your bed.
Right, okay. It's going to be that kind of pod then.
You mean you're not allowed to lay on the sofa moaning and feeling sorry for yourself?
Absolutely not. I've done 2 loads of washing already this morning.
What kind of flu is
far
this?
too productive for a Good Friday. No, I'm not going to lie.
I know, right?
Let alone a bank holiday.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We'll just roll the intro and we'll be back in a second.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds eating bastard. Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No. The utensil played a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead. Nothing spectacular, really.
There you go.
Something outside.
Can you hear us? More to the point.
I can hear you.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
It's Bradford. There's always something going on outside. Best ignored.
Well, Jay's nothing spectacular, really. Thing is always kind of in focus when stuff's going on, and today it's no different. I'm hoping for something very spectacular today because let's be honest, it's got to happen today.
Well, I'll let Evie go first. She can drop herself in it.
Oh, Evie, no pressure.
We don't have a great kind of history of the Easter weekend, but we haven't had a lot of good results against Millwall, and we've broken that curse after 12 years we hadn't won away at Millwall. I'd love to find out the stat on when the last time was that we did the double over them, actually. But I think this is a year of breaking those stigmas and curses. So I'm vaguely positive about today. But I would love if other teams took the pressure off us as well and just dropped a load of points. That would be my kind of ideal situation, so that the pressure kind of isn't on with probably a weakened team, I would say, tonight. Which I'm sure we'll go into later. So, yeah, vaguely positive, but trying not to... I'm not going to lose my mind if things don't go the best today either, because I think all of the top 4 will lose points over the next couple of weeks because either getting back into rhythm, players injured, etc., etc. So I'm not going to lose my mind if things don't go right, but I'm quietly positive about tonight.
See, I like that because you mentioned the Millwall hoodoo and all that, and we've had this discussion on the pod previously where I've been like, the only players within the club that are affected by that mentality is Cooper, Bamford, and probably Ayling now. They're the only ones that have that kind of hoodoo over them, and I never, like this season, I was like, yeah, it can't be with the players because there's enough of them there to have that psychological brain fart when it comes to Millwall. But it's more in the fans with that kind of scenario because we're the ones who've been burnt. These players haven't been here to be burnt by that before.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying about the Good Friday and all that, but again, I think it's more down to the fact that these players don't have that hanging over them from previous campaigns, and I think today is going to be one of those days where Leicester, presumably because I'm putting money on them, are going to lose or draw. Same with Southampton and Ipswich. So it's the one time you don't mind burning money.
You're taking one for the team, Karl.
Yeah, I guess I might today. Like just on the off chance, because I haven't really done it. Like there's a lad on Twitter, Lord Farquaad, and I do watch him burn money every week. So I'm going to join in and just say, yeah, okay, I'll go on with that as well, just for a bit of crack.
Fair enough.
What do you think, Jay? You hopeful for today that results might go our way?
I'm secretly hoping that Farke has played a blinder and that all these doubts he's mentioned are all nothing really, and everyone's all right. But I suspect it won't be that way. I'm thinking out of like is it 4 of them that have had an issue? I'm hoping that at least 2 of them will be okay. We think Rutter will be okay, but I'd be shocked if he started. I don't see you having a procedure like that, even if it's minor, and playing 90 minutes. It doesn't seem like a good idea. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical person. It's just it's just what's in my head. I just feel like we might see him on about sort of 60 minutes or something.
Yeah,
Roberts is a big loss.
Yeah, mate in work now. His brother works in an operating theatre, and obviously he didn't work on Jorginho, but he was saying with that particular kind of injury to come back and be 100%, even though he's not being 100%, it's a different story when you've had the surgery.
Yeah,
he said it'll be a big ask, in his opinion, in his brother's opinion, for him to be in some form of starting fitness today. But
do we know where it was?
It was a hernia, wasn't it?
Yeah, but do we know where it was? Like, was it like lower stomach or something, or was it? I don't know.
Or was it like a Joey from Friends hernia? One of them, is it?
I'm just thinking, especially where Rutter plays, there's a lot of twisting and turning and stuff, and that's not good stitches.
Yeah, but I think with those kind of things now, it's not even a case of cutting you open. I think it's more a keyhole surgery type thing where they can do it without having to. Like,
and they go.
That's the stitches aren't closing in 10 days. Like they're not good.
I don't know much about this kind of thing, so
I only know because I split my head open a few times back home playing football. And I shouldn't have
explains
played the next
a lot.
game. Yeah,
it does. Some of his brain cells fell out.
Well, you know what? At least it was worth it. At one point. We lost 2 All-Irelands as an under-16 school team, but these things happen.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm just hoping that not all 4 people are out, basically. I'm hoping that there's some good news. And I think there will be. And I just hope Dan James's head is okay, because he didn't look right happy, did he, taking that penalty? So
yeah, he's got a lot of support there around him, especially with the 3 other lads that are in the Wales squad. Do you think that they just, think that they just go over and put an arm around him and go, here, knock that one on the head there now. It's 100%. It's championship time now.
And I think Dan James, we've got the best possible situation because Daniel Farke is a brilliant man manager. He's done it with specifically Dan James himself this season. Dan James has never been as good as he is right now. But also, Dan James seems to have a really good mentality. He has, he didn't come to us with Swansea. He then went to Man U, wasn't utilised very well, then came to us, then played out of position, then went to Fulham. And he just seems to be able to be quite resilient and able to bounce back. So I do think that the mixture of those 2 things, I think, is the best possible kind of situation that we can hope for, really.
Yeah, just on what you were saying there about his attitude and mental state at the moment, do you think is that because he mentioned in an interview, I think it might have been a couple of months back, just before Christmas perhaps, where he was asked what's different this season, and he said that Daniel Farke basically set him down and told him, this is what I want from you, this is where I see your best ability coming out. And do you think was it just an arm around him that he needed to go, we want you here, you're not going out on loan anywhere, you're not doing what you've done over the last 2 seasons? Do you think as that got had a positive effect on him?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that it's like a bittersweet feeling because I think we're finally seeing the Dan James that Bielsa wanted. And that, had everything worked better in the 21-22 season, maybe Bielsa doesn't get the sack because Bamford stays fit. Dan James is able to play on the wing because I think him and Dan James have a really good relationship. I think him and Dan James work better than him and Nonto, because they're just a different profile of player. So I think that Daniel Farke just seems to be really good at being tough when needed, but also giving an arm around, and also just he always looks at the end of games, he's there giving players hugs and kisses at the end. So it just seems like he's really proud of them. They really want to work hard for him. So if it was Jesse Marsh that was our manager right now, then I could see Dan James just falling off a cliff because of that. But I don't want to underestimate Dan James's really good mentality and resilience to kind of adversity. But it's just nice to see him flourish, and hopefully with the Welsh contingency, a good manager, and just a really tight-knit group, I think he'll be fine. I don't have that many worries about him, really.
Do you think, like we were saying earlier, that all the Welsh lads that are there now have a lot to do with how he's playing?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that's why I was really excited about Connor Roberts coming, because I don't play FIFA, but when you make a team and you can see all of the lines and they go like green, amber and red they play together, it was just in my head kind of being able to visualize the fact that we had, obviously depending on where Ampadu plays, but either two centre backs who have known each other for years, and then Connor Roberts, and then on that right wing, Connor Roberts, Dan James link up. It's just really, I think that really helps. It's why when you look at your Man Cities and things like that, a lot of them play together in their club team, so when they go off on national duty, you can see that they've got that trust. And Ampadu made a clearance when in the Welsh game, when Rodon had kind of let his man go right near the back line, and he just made that clearance so that it didn't turn into a goal. And that's because they're just working together all of the time. So I think we're really lucky. Yes, we're unlucky in the fact that they went away, they played obviously 120 minutes and then lost, but they're also incredibly tight-knit, and they're very proud people, or Welsh people in general. So I think that they'll really feel the need to kind of not right the wrongs, because they didn't do anything wrong, but you know what I mean, just kind of get back to it and firing on all cylinders. And they've all been incredible at club level, so that hopefully won't affect any of them, really.
Yeah. Jay, I kind of agree. I totally agree with what Evie's saying there. The camaraderie, you can see it on the pitch, and we saw it when Dan James and Connor Roberts came on. I can't remember which game it was, but instantly the two of them just clicked, and we ended up getting a goal from out their wing. I can't remember, was it against Sheffield Wednesday or?
Is that the one when he played the long sort of pass along the ground?
Yeah. You could see that
they started the attack off, and off we went and we scored.
Yeah, the understanding is there between the two of them. I think that's going to be vital further down the line, especially the way Connor Roberts has got that championship experience of being in pressure games and pressure situations. I think he's going to be vital. Like, you just to touch on a few of the injuries, Jay. Farke said there would be 4. No, I give my opinion on what I think the crack is with Rutter. Like, but do you think is it just Farke kind of doing I don't want to give you all the ammunition to be able to tactically plan ahead. And then that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's not daft. So, I'm hoping that he would play up any potential injuries just to make it sound worse than it is, so that the opposition think, maybe those guys won't play, or they're not going to be quite sure who to prepare for, so it's going to affect their plans. I think that you've got to use stuff like that, haven't you? And all good managers do. There's so many managers that just don't tell you anything, and then there's managers that'll say, "Oh yeah, he's knackered," and then they'll start next game, be right as rain, and it's just something that people do, and it's another part of the tactical mind games.
Yeah, I think so. What do you reckon on that kind of scenario, Evie?
Yeah, I mean, he's quite honest, to be fair to him, throughout the season. I do think there is a level of mind games, but I think he also, I don't know, he's quite humble, and he reminds me kind of his Bielsa was almost too honest and wanting to be too pure, whereas I do think Farke understands the necessity occasionally to kind of not shithouse, but you know what I mean, just kind of maybe
Keep
bullshit
your
a
cards
little.
close to your chest.
Yeah, exactly. And he has actually mentioned it. Like, I'm not going to mention, in ones from months ago, he's mentioned the fact I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to give away my starting lineup, which is quite ironic considering for months it was the same starting lineup. So, there was no need to give anything away because we all knew who exactly was going to be starting.
Yeah.
But I do think I think we'll see Firpo. I think he's going to be rushed back.
Do you actually?
He's one. Yeah, I think we'll see Firpo, and I think we'll see Byram on the right because Firpo offers us so much more down that left-hand side, and him and Somerville have really developed a good relationship down that, just like Byram and Somerville did earlier on in the season. But obviously, Byram hasn't been a kind of main player since December. So I think, and obviously we've been on our best run since January. So I do think that he will be a surprise, and I think he didn't mean to actually let that one slip, because he did kind of say we'll have to assess him. It's not ideal, but I think we'll see him. I think he'll only want to change the absolute necessities. So if he can push a player maybe a little over their comfort zone, so that he can keep the majority of the team the same, I think that's what he'll do. And as cruel as this sounds, his job is for Leeds, not for the individual players. So he will push those players to kind of maybe the brink, because this is the last part of the season and we need to get it over the line. Everybody can be injured over the summer, that's fine, because let's face it, it's going to be a mass exodus, whether we go up or whether we don't. So I do think he'll be a little bit, I don't know, maybe not narcissistic, but nihilistic, where he will just say, this is what the team needs. I know you're struggling, but until you tell me that you cannot play, you're going to play, kind of thing. So I think he'll make the fewest possible changes.
That's a great point. Until they tell them they don't want to play, you're playing. And
all hands to the pump at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I there was talk of Firpo getting back at, like, I don't know, 2:00 in the morning last night or something like that, or along those lines. But again, that's still a good kind of turnaround for him to be able to, he'd be on a private jet. He's not going to be slumming it in economy class coming from South America. He's going to have time to be able to sleep, and obviously the time difference is going to be heavy. But I just want to touch on the right back situation, because Farke mentioned Archie came back with a bit of a niggle from under 21 duty. Jay, would you not prefer to play Connor Robertson there if you're going to have Dan James? Just going off, not kind of taking away from what you were saying about Byram, Evie. I agree with that, but at the same time, Roberts and Dan James have also kind of built that trust and they know each other. Would you prefer to start Roberts, because he's yet to start as well? Like, I
would like to use him, but it depends if he's fit, doesn't it? We're still waiting to hear whether Roberts is actually okay, because Phil Hay said he were having an injury assessed, and I think that's the last we've heard of it. So it depends. It depends. I'm just going to keep repeating myself here because I don't know what else to say. It just depends if he's fit. I would have him start if he is. And if Archie's okay, I would put him in midfield. If he's not okay, I'd still start Roberts, obviously, and someone else will have to play in bloody midfield. I just hope there's enough of our sort of first choice squad available. I hope we're not having to chuck someone random in there or do something drastic.
Yeah, I think Gruev, if he's not fit enough to play, might be the biggest loss out of the midfield area there, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Kamara stayed on the bench, didn't he, in the last Finland game? So he got
it was only a friendly, wasn't it?
Yeah. Been mad I'm going to say traveling all that way just not to play, wasn't it? Just to sit there and watch. You'd be like, Jesus Christ, why did I bother? Yeah,
but at the same time, it's another opportunity to have players, together again after a 10-day break, and it's a good.
The training sessions are as important as the games, aren't they, for international squads? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I just want to bring up the. Evie, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I've become a bit of a technical genius on this pod recently.
This is where it all falls apart.
Oh, don't, man.
This man started out, Evie. He used to podcast with a phone taped to the wall. That is how Karl started out. And it used to fall off sometimes. And he moved on from there to a laptop that had a battery life of 1 hour exactly. That would die if it went over.
I've really pushed the boat out on technology-wise.
But now he's a technical whiz.
I'm absolutely smashing it now.
You're genuinely probably better than I am. I'm absolutely awful with technology. But I've not quite got to the level of sticking a phone to a wall. Mine's on a little tripod with a ring light. So,
see, I did get that far as well, and it kind of, you gradually snowball into having everything that you need, which is great.
That's it. You just gradually step up, don't you?
Yeah, but there's a shit takes and outtakes kind of special from after our first season, and Gilly managed to find the one fucking clip of my phone falling off the wall, so it's on there. If people want to go back and have a look, it's definitely there. But I just want to bring up the championship table now, just to move on. I think we've discussed the old injuries and what could potentially happen there. In relation to Jay, I've just absolutely cabbaged myself here. How do I get the three of us down the left-hand side and just have that in the middle?
All right, so you have to take that out and you have to do a present at the bottom. Do you see present on the bar? We're doing a tutorial now for aspiring podcasters who want to be as professional as us. So you click on present, share screen, and then you can either choose to share your entire screen or you can choose to share a window, which will be whatever app you've got the table open in, or whatever. And you can resize the window as well, and it'll show it in that size.
Oh, right.
There you go.
All right, yeah, it doesn't matter. I can't be arsed with that now. So there you go. I'm sitting there looking at it like, cancel this, do that. And I'm like, you know what?
Don't ever change, mate.
I won't. Why would I do that, man? Sure.
Do you want me to bring a table up that's more readable?
I think that one's all right. It just means that we've only got Evie's lips, and see, that's the thing there now. You see, you could do that. Like,
it's like naked attraction when the thing starts going up.
If I go over that side.
There you go. Yeah. So Evie does the mouth bit. Anyway, let's get off that topic.
Let's move on, Karl. Just into the table.
Move along. So we're looking at the table here today now, and the teams down the right-hand side there are the teams that the top 8 are all playing today. I'm happy enough with the table the way it's looking at the moment, and I don't care that it's only goal difference that has us up. Someone else? I don't know. Possibly. Are we all gone there?
That were weird.
Huh.
Are we all back?
Right. Are we all back there? Yeah.
Try again.
Right. So down the right-hand side, we've got all the teams playing against the teams on the left. Psychologically, I'm happy enough that we're a goal ahead because, let's be honest, it's always hindered us when we've lost the top spot, whether it be on goal difference or points. So, looking at the table today, what are we hoping for?
Okay, so Ipswich, Blackburn, Leicester playing Bristol. I don't expect much from Bristol. I never do. I never expect much from Bristol.
Right.
But you never know. We could see a nice little draw there with it being at Bristol. Ipswich, I expect to steamroller Blackburn. And Southampton, Middlesbrough is an interesting one because that one definitely could go either way. Depends. Those are two teams. It depends what mindset they turn up on the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true.
I can see you working away here, Karl, trying to... there you go. You got to get rid of the other one first.
Come on, boy. I've got
He's
this.
getting there.
Could you see the cogs moving there? I was looking at it like, oh, shit, it's just opened up another tab. What have I done? Where's everyone gone?
It's like seeing a monkey use tools for the first time.
I am going to punch you clean in the face on Monday. I've had haircuts, right? Okay. Granted, in the early years of the pod, I did look like an absolute homeless person who'd been dragged through a bush.
His hair was like out.
Oh man, you want to see it, Evie, man. During lockdown, I couldn't get a haircut, so it was like 9 months or something, and I'd only gotten a haircut about 3 months prior, and so I had nearly a year of no haircut. But it was great. It was great. Don't worry about it.
And then you became Gail Platt, and then Audrey, and the rest history.
Yeah, that's not good, man. Let's
both
put that one to bed.
Yeah. He's a combo.
Fuck.
Anyway, go on, Karl. Back to what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, who do you think you were saying about Bristol, Jay? Do you think are they going to be a bit of a banana skin for Leicester?
Well, I was saying I don't expect much from them, they're never. They're such a archetypal mid-table side in the Championship. They might win, might get a draw, but they might lose. You never know. It's highly likely they'll probably get beat, but I'm hoping that because they're at home, as I say, they'll at least eke a point out of that, because that'd be nice. Leicester have got a little bit of pressure now because they've got that game in hand, but they've got to win it. And Farke said that comment, didn't they, about we're not favourites to go. Leicester are ahead of us if they win the game in hand. They're favourites.
Yeah.
Not like Maresca is. It's a normal game to us.
Yeah, well, I think that's come back to bite them very hard in the arse. Evie,
they mentioned that on last night's run-in show. By the way, to the Leicester fan, if no one's seen it, go back and have a watch. Or a good chat, that one. And everybody was saying that they think they'll drop at least some points in this run-in. Yeah,
I wanted to ask you, Evie, do you think the news that came out over the international break about Leicester being sanctioned potentially for FFP and all that, do you think is, again, we've got the psychological advantage of being top today, but do you think is that going to have a negative effect on them going forward?
I think this game is vital, and the reason I say that, I'm not meaning to sound kind of very reactive and dramatic and YouTube kind of algorithm seeking kind of thing, but
clickbaity.
That's the word, I couldn't think of it. I do think that if Leicester do carry on with the kind of, let's face it, poor form that they've been in before the international, they will have the same struggles that we had last season, in the fact of all of our players knew that they had loan relegation release clauses or actual release clauses, so they had nothing to fight for. You're not telling me that Dewsbury Hall is going to be 100% committed to Leicester if he knows that there's a chance that they don't go up and he doesn't want to get injured because he wants to go to a Premier League team regardless of whether it's with Leicester or not. So they're going to have players that if things still don't carry on the pitch going well, they're going to start being kind of self-preserving, and they're going to make it so that, exactly. And I was watching, was it Leicester Fan TV, and they've said, well, they've got a history of players down tool. They did it for as much as Brendan Rodgers. It probably was time for him to go. They down tools on them, so they do have a history of that. And we also had a history, but we don't have those players anymore. They've all gone either sold permanently or gone on a loan or whatever. But I do think that it's the mentality that they've shown. When they've been winning, it's great, but you stick a chink into that and they've struggled. They did it. We were poor for 70 minutes of, well, not poor, but not as at the races as we probably should have been at that Leicester game. I think we gave them too much respect, in all honesty. And they should have won that game, regardless of anybody's opinions on whether their disallowed goal should have stood. The most we probably deserved out of that game was a draw. But the mentality, Jay always says the saying of hard work overturns talent if talent doesn't work hard. And we saw that, that mentality, the Ellen Road atmosphere, Connor Roberts coming on and just been, just not giving up. And just as soon as he scored, he did a minor celebration and then he was right back at it. It was like, no, we're going to get this, And I think that if they don't win, I think if they drop any sort of points today, if they just get a draw, that mentality is going to start seeping in, and the what about me mentality that we saw from our team last year is going to, I could see them finishing below Southampton if they don't kind of, if they don't, I know it would be, imagine if it's us and Southampton that go, the two teams that have been in the top two the least amount of time this season, and it's us two that go up. I would like to see Ipswich.
Final.
Oh, and Ipswich would win that. I absolutely guarantee it, because their mentality, they're so strong. Like, they'll get annihilated in the Premier League if they do go up, because you can't concede the amount of goals. Premier League teams don't allow you to concede that amount of goals. We saw that. So, but yeah, I think that Bristol game, I think it's more vital than we probably give it credit for the mentality. For the actual league table, we're all going to drop points. So it's fine. But the mentality side of things, I think, is so crucial for Leicester.
I think just jump in just one sec, Jed. It's I think that, like you're saying, the mentality thing is massive, but they've also got players on massive wages. Like, they've Harry Winks on 80 grand a week. They've got Farke is still on 110 grand a week, 120 grand a week. If they don't go up, they're going to in my opinion, what's going to happen to them is what happened to us the season we ended up getting relegated to League One, because they're looking at massive points deduction whether they go up or whether they stay down. So it's for me, it's a case that their mentality needs to change if they're going to carry on. Sorry for interrupting you there, Jay. Carry on. Sorry, man.
That's all right, mate. I probably forgot what I was going to say now, to be honest, but it won't have been important. It were interesting what Evie was saying then. Firstly, the Connor Roberts bit, when he came on in that game and he got us going, it were sort of Stuart Dallas Derby playoff game-esque. They were like one man trying to drag everyone around by scruff of the necks and say, come on, let's fucking get going here. Yeah. And I think that's when I fell in love with him. Yeah. But the interesting thing for me with Leicester is, like you say, Evie, with the potential from a down tools if they think not going to go up. Well, what about this potential Premier League points deduction? Does that make them think, well, I'm going to leave anyway? I don't want to be in a minus points relegation fight next season. I don't want to be part of that. My career will go down the pan. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of players there now who are thinking, where's my future? I don't think it's here. Yeah,
I completely agree.
And someone said last week as well that Vardy was still 140k a week, going to what you just said.
Yeah, stupid money still. Like,
they literally didn't think they were going to get relegated, did they? A couple of seasons ago, they were trying to get in Champions League.
FA Cup.
How did they end up here?
Well, sure, but look, we've seen how easily it can happen, Jay. We're probably one of the more recent fan bases that can see how easily that kind of thing can happen. Before we move on to Ipswich and Southampton chat, Jay, do you want to maybe go through a few comments there?
I can do that, mate. Yeah, I can do that.
Sound.
First up, we've got Skip, and he says, with a different team we will have to put out today, surely our quality should still be too much for Watford. You would think so. That's the hope, mate. That's the hope. Bryn on his campaign here. Please no Pirro in the 10. He's not a fan. What do you think of him, Evie, by the way?
What, of Pirro or Pirro in the 10?
Pirro in the 10.
It's good. See?
Pirro in the 10. You see, I don't like it, and I'm not going to go back on my words. I don't like him in the 10. He's not creative. But if we've got Bamford at the 9, the problem is Rutter was having to do both jobs. He was having to press and be creative, whereas Bamford can press. And then as long as we've still got Somerville, he can do a little bit more of the creativity. And Pirro can just do the short link-up play to get it to Bamford. We beat them last time with Pirro. In fact, Pirro, I believe, scored against them in the first game. So I wouldn't like it, but I think that it still allows us to do a job.
Yeah, I think we'd manage, but it's obviously not as good as having Rutter.
It's not ideal. but we definitely manage.
Yeah, I think we should still have too much quality, as he says. Paul Brennan says, one good thing with our squad, they're all in it together. Dan James will be low, but Daniel Farke and the lads will support him as one. And this team has fighting spirit. Absolutely agree. And I think he'll have been very grateful that he wasn't travelling home on his own after that penalty miss. It would have been a very lonely journey, feeling the way he probably felt. But those lads will have been there to put an arm around him and pick him up a bit. So happy for that. Paul Brennan says, with the squad of players we have, they want to run through brick walls for Daniel Farke and all the lads playing for each other. Nobody gets left behind. It's side before self every time, players. Yeah. Absolutely. That's the mentality we've got now in this side.
It's great to see as well.
It is. Diggler says, hopefully the fans get behind Dan James and give him a reception, which I think they will. We'll definitely give him we'll definitely give him one at home. I mean, a reception. Lee Fryer says, nice hat, Jay. Cheers, mate. Representing. Nick G says, I see Karl has splashed out 20 sheets on the away kit in the sale.
Actually, I saw that in the chat earlier on. It was a Christmas present.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Mr. Dodo says, well, Jay and all that Jurassic Park Guardians of the Galaxy cast will be using a NASA computer, of course. Yeah, maybe one from the 50s that put Apollo into space, mate. Joe, Leeds United The View. Nice to see him in the comments. He says, I want to see that now. Completely forgotten what that was in reference to when I started. I think it might be your phone.
Pals. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's out there somewhere, mate. It's out there somewhere. It's one of his skeletons in his closet. Mr. Dodo says, if Leicester don't win today, their season is over. I think that's a bit strong.
Ooh.
That's a bold statement.
I think that's a bit strong, but they're not going to be very happy, are they?
Yeah, but when you look at the run of games there over the last 5, like the last one draw, you can kind of see his point in that statement. But it's a very brave one with what have we got left? 8 games to go. Like,
plus they've got 2 of their better players, haven't they? Got Ndidi and Ricardo back again now from injury.
I think
so. That unfortunately for us has come at a very good time for them.
Yeah, they still have to perform though.
Still got to win the game in hand. Points on the board. Take every
points
time.
on the board all day long. Less pressure.
Do you know what? I think the fact that we got that cushion that put us top against Millwall was so massively important psychologically. If we'd gone into that break and we'd not been top, it wouldn't have had the same effect on them. But having to sit for a week or two and look at that, that's going to fester. It's going to eat away at them a little bit. It's going to bother them. They're going to be thinking, shit, where's 17 100%. Points gone? You know, we were told we were out of the picture by Southampton. We were told that Leicester were going to go unbeaten all season, get an epic record points tally. None of these things have happened, and now we're top at league. So, you know,
Jay, not to interrupt, but you're making a very good point there, right? You know, we broke a record ourselves the season we didn't go up in the first year under Bielsa. 11 points clear at Christmas. Every team had gone up at Christmas if they were top of the pile. Leicester were top of the pile with a 17-point gap. I'm going to start singing that from the rafters on Twitter later.
We have come now to make the same thing happen to them that happened to us, because fuck them, fuck everybody else. Why should we have to deal with it? We're gonna consign them to the championship. Yeah, leave them down here. Let them rock.
Yeah. Let them drop like an absolute stone. Have we any more comments there, Jay? Or are you good to go?
No, that's it for now, mate. And I just want to say, let Dewsbury Town all crumble.
Sound. Well, not
would you take him?
Oh,
if we get promoted, would you take him?
I was just about to ask that. I would take him hands down, yeah.
I'd sing songs about him and everything. Until then, I'm going to call him every name under the sun and slag him off.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay, we'll move on to Ipswich, and they've kind of picked up their form a little bit. They went through a bit of a rocky patch, and as you can see there from the table, it's 4 wins and a loss in their last 5. It's good form, regardless of the loss. Do you think are they going to be more of a worry in this run-in than Leicester? Because we've talked about Leicester's psychological disadvantage at the moment, and their manager just saying all the wrong things for them and all the right things for us.
At this point, I think yes. I mean, we've got 2 games in quick succession this weekend, so we're gonna the picture may change dramatically. You know what I mean? But as it stands now, it feels like us and Ipswich are the teams with the momentum. So Leicester are they're obviously still quality. They've obviously just picked up a win and a draw, which, you know, last 2 games they may be getting back to what they were, but they're stumbling a bit, they're struggling a little. Ipswich have had their blip and seem to have got back on saddle now, back in the saddle even, and they're back to winning ways for the most part. We seem to be eking out results and getting wins even when we're not playing well, so we're carrying momentum. Leicester don't quite have the same level of momentum that us 2 teams have got currently, but as I say, there's 6 points to play for this weekend and anything could happen here. It's just, it's hard, this. It's so tense. I'm nervous all the time. Why do we have to be all so close? Why is this happening to us? Why?
Why is it always us?
Why always us? Why always me?
The way I look at that, though, Jay, is this the way it is at the moment. If we can build on this momentum, this is going to show the character of our squad now over these next couple of games. And if we do well and we get up, well, I'm convinced we're going up anyway, so it makes no odds. But bringing that momentum here, look, I've been saying it since before Christmas.
So am I, mate, but you've got to be careful, haven't you?
Nah, balls to it, man. I'm always erring on the side of caution, and for the first time, I think, in my life as a Leeds fan, I'm like, yeah, balls to it, we're going up. But I think bringing that momentum into the Premier League is going to be vital, and I think with the way Ipswich are playing now as well, I genuinely they look like they could get that second spot at the minute.
I think so. I certainly wouldn't want to end up in the playoffs and having to play Ipswich.
No, absolutely not. Evie, they seem to go on a run of games where they get extremely late goals. Now, the goals that they get late on are generally because they're 3-1 down or 2-1 down, or that says a lot about their character in that team. And do you think, is that going to be their, you know, kind of drive, you know, yardstick to carry on doing what they're doing, or are they just pure lucky in the fact that they're getting all these late goals?
If it was earlier on in the season, I would say it was more luck, but I think you cannot say that it's luck anymore. You know, they've come back from so many kind of close calls, losing positions, and either got a result or got a win. And I think that's an incredible mentality to have. I still think if they get promoted, unless they have some amazing recruitment, that they will struggle, and they'll be like Sheffield this year in the Premier League, because you just can't concede that amount of goals and expect to come back. You know, we've seen ourselves the quality gap between the bottom of the Championship versus the bottom of the, you know, Premier League or mid, you know, Premier League. It's like 6 leagues difference. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, and Burnley and Sheffield stormed this league last year, and now they just look pitiful in the Premier League. So I think that they will carry on. I think that they will struggle at Southampton, but I wouldn't write either team out. Obviously, we need Southampton to lose today and then probably win on Monday. So that it just keeps a tiny bit more of a gap between us and Ipswich. But, you know, because obviously when you've put Ipswich up against the better teams, i.e. like us and Leicester, they got 2 draws and 2 losses. They got a 1-0 win against Southampton earlier on in the season, but I believe that was before they played us. I think that was like the week before or something, and then obviously we handed them their unbeaten run for the longest in their club's history. You're welcome, Southampton. But they played Southampton when Southampton were a completely different team. So I think that they had their dip at the right time, just like we did. Us and our dip was much shorter in December than theirs was, and they had theirs into January as well. But we both seem to be kind of peaking at the same time. And I think if you look at that across the season, that probably gives us us and Ipswich a kind of a better advantage over Leicester, is that we just seem to be, both teams have won very ugly, us and Ipswich. So I don't think it's luck anymore. I think it's a fantastic manager. But I hope, completely, a bit off topic, but I hope that he doesn't leave Ipswich and do the move to a bigger club sooner than he should do, because too many managers have a really good season with a team with a lower expectation, go for a bigger job, and then just completely fail miserably. So I hope he gives Ipswich another season, because they'll either storm the league next year in the Championship, or he'll be able to tweak it next year in the Premier League. But
I think going back to what you were saying as well about them conceding a lot of goals against teams in this division, and you won't get away with that in the Premier League. They also have to remember that when they do go up, they're going to have teams who are a million times better than the Championship, a million times better. And those goals that they're conceding 2 and 3 goals are just they won't get away with that. They will not get away with that. Thanks, Jamie. We thought that might be the case.
We're getting that out of us. That's why we're TV on.
Yeah. It's too early in the day for sense out of us. Thanks, Stevie. But I think.
Oh,
all that tech skill. Look what it's got.
Removed himself. It's disappeared. Oh, Jesus Christ!
His phone's fallen off again.
He's in the green room. There he is. What the hell, Karl?
I clicked the bleeding button on my mouse, and it kind of went, "Nah, you're not having that." And
Tech whiz, indeed.
Yeah, it was just as Jamie or someone was saying there about me technical skills. I'm putting it down to there. Look, Michael Grott. Look at him there. Look, Karl's PC skills don't get you. So yeah. So
that was like the modern equivalent of your phone falling off the wall, right there, Karl. That was the new one.
Yeah, that was
what a guy.
But sorry, anyway. But yeah, I've totally lost what I was saying there. Sorry, no.
Well, I was gonna say, with Ipswich and everything now, I think they've got that rare thing where you just got the perfect combination. You've got the right manager with the right group of players at the right time, and you get a bit of momentum and everything's gravy. It's like when we had David O'Leary initially and everything were great. Do you know what I mean? It were the right guy at the right time with the right players, and everyone were buying in and they were together until he wrote a book. But yeah, I don't think they'll keep McKenna forever. I think that he will get picked up by a lower end Premier League team, or possibly someone like a Brighton who likes an up and coming coach.
Yeah. Well, if De Zerbi goes to that lot over the dark side of the Pennines, then you never know. They were looking at him, weren't they?
Someone on last night's pod actually said in the comments, "Oh, McKenna's going to be next Liverpool manager." I can't see that one.
No, I don't think he's, like Evie said. He needs time to establish himself as a good Championship coach before he's given that opportunity. If he brings a team up, then obviously his credentials go through the roof.
You got to walk before you can run. Look what happened to Graham Potter, man. He had that time to prep and become a established Premier League coach, and he still failed when he went to a big club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Chelsea a big club though?
They were.
Nobody can run Chelsea.
No one cares about them anymore. They've become a bit significant, haven't they?
Yeah.
I could have seen him doing well at like a Villa or somewhere like that with aspirations, but not as much expectations on their shoulders. But yeah, he should never have gone to Chelsea. It's just that and Scum are like the places where you go to end your career, essentially.
Because you won't work again afterwards.
Yeah.
Those clubs are so poisonous, aren't they? Nobody can succeed there anymore.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
So what we'll do is we'll just move on to Southampton next. I've been requested to take the table down, so you can all go on yourselves. So anyway, going on to Southampton, real quick because it's 25 past, and I'm sure people want to get stuck into the 12:30 game that's coming up soon. So
that's it, and there's people starting to watch Joe's watch along now, so we'll have to.
Well, there you go. So, but just a quick one on Southampton. I mentioned Russell Martin's attitude in the last couple of weeks has been shit, really. Talking about how he can't understand how they've gone on the club's best run in history and they're still not clear of Leeds United, to not going over shaking players' hands after a game, to sulking in interviews. They haven't got points on the board, but they have games in hand. We've talked about how we love having points on the board because the pressure is added to everyone else. Do you think they're going to flop in the next coming 8 games? I don't think they're going to get those points. Their fixture congestion is massive.
Is that for me or Evie? I'll let Evie talk because I've talked loads.
Go on, Evie.
I don't like his attitude. I don't like his or Maresca's attitude. I think they're very entitled. And out of the 3 managers, Daniel Farke is very humble and not self-deprecating because he's got confidence, and I like that. You know, he's confident without being cocky. He's not arrogant or anything like that. But Russell Martin seems to think he is better than he is. He's just inherited a vaguely Premier League club and thinks that he kind of deserves to be at the top, you know, and actually he's not actually done that great as a manager before. You know, he's kind of mid-table championship. So to go on that and then go on a run, and yes, it was unbeaten, but they dropped a lot of points. They got a lot of draws, and it, you know, as wasn't it Neil Warnock that said it's the draws that kill you in this league? Because
you gotta fucking die for 3 points.
But you know, for as much as he can be tedious, he's right. You know, the draws, a draw is better than nothing. I'd rather have drawn against Huddersfield than lost against them. But you need, you know, unbeaten doesn't mean you've got 3 points. It means you haven't lost. And they drew a lot of those games and threw away very silly points as well. You know, and they barely scraped past Huddersfield and things. You know, I know we lost, so that I know we drew, so that's a bit kind of on the nose. But I don't think he has the mentality, and I think he's shown his true colours too soon. In terms of, if you're having a go and you've been on your best run, you should just be incredibly proud of your team. You don't need to not shake players' hands. You don't need to belittle other teams in order to puff your own ego up. And the players don't need that either. They need encouragement and a really strong self-belief. And Farke has that because he's won it twice before. So if anybody is going to say, look, I know my business kind of thing, it's going to be Daniel Farke. He's done it before. I think out of the 4 managers, there's only 2 managers that have that mentality, and it's us and Ipswich's manager, because he also, you know, got promoted last season. So he's done it. Yes, he's not done it at this level, but he's still done it, whereas neither one of those managers has got a team promoted before. So I think they'll pick up points where we least expect them, but I don't think it'll be enough for them to get. And I think obviously the fact that they have to play us, Leicester and Ipswich, do they have the mentality? We're a different team as well than Ipswich. We're a different team as well, you know, than when they beat us. You know, we've progressed a lot. You know, we are on our club's biggest kind of unbeaten run for decades. So they're coming to face a different animal than they were earlier on in the season. So yeah, I don't think they'll make top 2. I think they'll gain points, and I could see them snatching 3rd, and I could see Leicester going 4th if they lose today.
Wow,
good point. Yeah, do you find with Russell Martin, it's a sense of entitlement? because let's be honest, he left. Where was he? MK Dons, was it? Or yeah, MK Dons last season.
What's MK
Left
Dons?
them, left them for Southampton, without actually having proved that he was able for the level that he's playing at in the Championship. I think it's an entitlement kind of thing with him. He feels like, I've done this for so long now as a player. I know this league. It's like, knowing this league is totally different to being a player in this league. 100%. And I think that entitlement that he's got at the moment is going to bite him in the backside. And I also think that at the end of the day, if your manager sets the example as to how the players need to act, react, present themselves, and I don't think he's got that, and I don't think he's given his players that kind of mental attitude, and I think they're looking at the way he's acting, and that's rubbing off on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Your manager's got to lead by example. Farke is kind of like a dad, isn't he? He's like, he's great with the players. They all love him. Be your best mate, give you praise and all that. But when you've done something wrong or it's time to get to work, he'll be strict, he'll be firm, and you'll know not to fuck with him. You know what I mean? But there's all love there in this group. You know what I mean? Everyone's playing for each other. Everyone's playing for the manager. Everyone's playing for the shirt. I just don't see how a manager with an attitude like Russell Martin can foster that kind of atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? You can't, can you? In the back of your mind, you're going to be thinking, he's a bit of a prick, our manager, isn't he?
You've got to look at it like, if I was a player in that squad and he was coming out saying things he's saying, acting the way he's acting, me as a player, I'd be like, right, at the start of the season, I'd have run through brick walls for this man. But his attitude now is, we're entitled, I'm entitled, and the arrogance is going to absolutely kick them in the hole. So
the way that he was with that, was it the Millwall keeper whose hand he wouldn't shake?
Yeah.
That says to me that if a player puts a foot wrong, he absolutely bollocks them behind the scenes. Yeah. If he's going to behave like that publicly, next step is a Phil Brown style bollocking on pitch in front of everybody at half time.
Yeah.
Look how well that went.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at least Jimmy Bullard got a good celebration out of it when they scored anyway.
I liked Phil Brown purely because he was such an angry little bastard.
Yeah.
He was never happy.
No, he wasn't.
As well, with Russell Martin, he was at Swansea last season. And I remember that because we were after a Swansea player who then went to Southampton because he had the pull of playing with him last season. Yeah. And I think if we make top two, I think so. Yeah.
The lad we wanted.
Yeah, I think so.
Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, it was Ryan.
Well, my mind's gone blank. I can't.
Yeah, I can't remember. But I think if we get top two, we win the league, because I think Farke has proven to the players that it works. He works. His tactics work. His kind of the way he approaches games, the way he approaches players, the way he's had confidence in them. And I think that if we get top two, those players will want to repay him, because they will want him to have that record on his own, because currently he shares it with the guy with the funny face who is always on compilations. The man, I can't remember his blooming name. It's gone off the top of my head.
Is it Tony Mowbray, the other guy who's got the?
No.
It's someone really like middle of the road.
He's got grey hair. He's got grey hair. It's got quite a narrow face, but he always does these little kind of like side eyes to the camera. There's loads of compilations of him. That's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So he currently shares the record with him of winning the championship the most times. So I would love it, and I think the players would love it for Daniel Farke as well if he had that title on his own. So that's what I think is, if we get top two and we're comfortable on the last day, but there's still a possibility of us getting the title, that will be what swings it for the players, and the players will play for the manager. The players have got their job done in terms of promotion, but I think they will give something back. to Daniel
I think
Farke.
you're right.
I think we've got a lot of players there who've been written off by people. Rodon hadn't made it at Spurs, sent out on loan. Dan James written off, sent out on loan. Ruta written off after he signed and because he wasn't up to speed initially. You know, you've got players there that Firpo written off. Players there that were just like nobody backed him to be anything for us or anywhere else. And then, you know, Farke's come in and he's instilled belief in these lads and they're playing for him 100%.
Yeah. I completely agree. Jay, do you want to maybe go through the last few starred messages there before we finish up?
Yeah, we've got a couple here. I'm just going to star one more there because I like that as well. I want to include it. Right, Michael Brown here. He says, just watched Joe Blackburn's quiz for each and Evie. Congratulations, Evie, on getting 38 out of 40 questions on Leeds United, surpassing just Joe, 29 out of 40. We'd be lucky to get about 10 those between us, wouldn't we? Well done. Smart is saying, hope Pirro bags tonight. Be nice to keep him ticking over. He scored some important goals for this season. It's a good point that I would like him to get a goal because he's not had one for a few games now. He could do with something, couldn't he, to keep his levels up, his confidence and stuff.
Yeah.
Arse Ripper with his great name. Only 3 teams in promo race now. Most people call him Stripper for some reason, like they can't read it, but I'll give him full credit. Arse Ripper, get us cancelled. Yeah. Paul Brennan. He always with us, Paul. Daniel Farke is the best man, humble man, respects opponents and rival fans, doesn't belittle anyone. Thank goodness we have Daniel Farke. Absolutely.
Spot on.
Peacock Whites of LUFC. Evie, if Leicester end up in the playoffs, do you think they will fold with it being more pressure on them?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't even think that if it was us and Ipswich that get automatic, I don't even think it has to be a particular, like, say if Coventry or Preston or Hull, I don't think it necessarily has to be kind of, everybody says like West Brom are probably going to win playoffs. But I don't think that it would even have to be one of the favourites to win it. I think Leicester could fold in the semi-final and not even get to the final because of the pressure. We've had it ourselves. We know it's a whole other beast is the playoffs. So, and to go from 17 points clear at the top of the table to playoffs, that it's the mentality side of things. That's why I think if we do go into the playoffs, which I really hope we don't, I do have faith because I think Daniel Farke has instilled such a good mentality in them, and pretty much all of those players have never been involved in a playoff final before, so they don't have that negativity kind of in their mindset. So, but yeah, I think Leicester, if they go off into playoffs, I don't think they go up.
Yeah, I think you're right. You don't want that pressure. And we've seen what Dan James is like with his penalty. We don't want him under that pressure. Can you imagine? He'd score the winning penalty in the playoff final and it'd be his redemption. I don't want to do it.
The other thing as well, just before you move on to what you want to do, Jay, I think the way it's looking, like we've said, it could be. It's looking like it's going to be Leeds, Leicester, or Ipswich. Southampton coming to us on the final day. They're not going to have any motivation to want to beat us or to want to play proper ball because they've got the playoffs coming up and they'll want to kind of reserve what they've got.
Yeah.
Because we could see that with us the season we went into the playoffs and we didn't take our foot off the gas, but do you honestly think Bielsa would have given that goal to Aston Villa if we were still in the automatics? I think so.
He probably would.
Yeah, he probably would.
Not if it was the automatics. We had nothing to play for at that stage, so I don't think he would.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, Karl.
Yeah.
There was one comment left, actually. Just Paul Brennan saying, Daniel Farke looks like a hitman. Someone you don't mess with. Just shows we have the right man for the job. Kind of does, doesn't he?
He does have that evil kind of, I'll take you out look.
Absolutely. Cool, right. I've got a shit take of the week for us if you want to see it.
Go on, Jet.
Go on. Let me just find the video because I've gone early here. I keep forgetting it gets moved up the list. Here we go.
Hey, I've got a shit take this week, my little spat of fact.
I know this is a bit of an unusual. We'll do this anyway. I don't need to say out about this. I'm just going to show you a picture. All I'm going to say is Leeds Facebook strikes again.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm hoping someone's done this as a joke. It has to be. It has to be. But Jesus Christ, if not, they need to have
Christ
a sit
on
down.
a bike. That's crazy. That.
It's got to be
Phil.
a mistake, but good God, man.
Good grief. Anyway, yeah, that is a shit take of the week. Just
R.I.P.
before we
Phil,
finish,
indeed.
yeah,
I was tempted to say I can't believe they've used a picture of Rod Wallace, but you might have thought I was serious, so I decided not to.
All right, just before we go, the two of you and any fans in the chat, Evie, I'll come to you first. Score prediction for today.
Whoa.
Auto know better predictions.
Let's at least try and do something right. We could get one thing right today.
I know, yeah, but it's not like a Tuesday night pod, so we're kind of on the fly here today.
Billy will tell us off if we don't use the graphics.
But that's very true too. Right.
I don't want to be the cause of anybody getting a slap or anything like that.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, it's all good fun in this pod. Everyone gets a slap down.
Yeah.
I think it depends how much of the team has changed. I think we win, but I think it's going to be, obviously we beat them 3-0 at home. I don't think it's going to be anything like that today. I can see it being a really hard fought 1-0, 2-1 kind of thing. I'd love us to get a clean sheet. So, if we have to go for a 1-0, but I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay.
It's a good score.
Okay.
Good score.
Very nice. Roland Button-Ups has gone 3-0 for the fans, Karl, so I'll make a note of that. And you did you go 2-1, Evie?
Oh no, actually I'm going to change it. I'm going to go 1-0. And there's a weird reason for it, and it's going to completely go over your head. But I really like symmetry, and the last time we played them, we won 1-0 in the October, which was our first win in the 21-22 season, and then we beat them 3-0. So then we've beaten them 3-0. So I'd like us to beat them 1-0, and then if you put a mirror down the end, it's completely symmetrical. So I'm going to go 1-0.
Fair enough. Well,
you
I already gave
about that a lot more than I expected.
Yeah, I just go off a gut feeling. I don't think about anything else. I already gave a prediction in the pod chat, so I will stick with what I gave there. And mine was also a 1-0. So there you go, Evie. Great minds.
I went 2-0 in the pod chat, so let's see how that goes.
Well, we've got tactical now, Evie, because if you want to win the predictions league, you need a different score to everybody else, and you need a correct score. So we're all trying to use different predictions to each other, which is difficult when someone texts a bloody score that you want, which keeps happening to me.
Yeah. Well, you know what you have to do there to get your score in first, Jay. Be top.
I know, mate. I know.
Yeah.
That was last season. I won it last season. I didn't even get to celebrate because we were going to do our end of season pod where we all take piss out of each other and all stupid stuff we've done. And then Luke said, I don't want to do that. And then Gilly got upset and we didn't roll any of the videos that he had. And it was a shit show. But this season,
well, to be fair, it was miserable last season. So.
It was miserable. No one was happy.
No. Look, Evie, really, really appreciate you coming on at such short notice.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
We needed a third, and you were our unicorn, Evie, so to speak.
Yeah, and I do really appreciate it. Jay, as always, nice one.
Absolutely, mate.
I'm sure I will see you on Monday at the game, if not beforehand.
You shall.
And everyone else, thanks for your comments. We don't do anything really correctly here, so like, subscribe, hit the bell. There's absolutely nothing down the bottom of this, but this is what I see people doing. And go and follow us on Twitter as well. It's all good. Thanks for joining us.
If you love our brand of chaos, give us a like and a subscribe.
Absolutely. And look, keep it tight all weekend now. See you on Monday. Take care.
Adios.